And for a specific use case, you may have a project leader. Of course, can be also the same person, the administrator and the project leader, but they have different rights. And then you have team members. And normally we say it's better to have just one or two project leaders who are developing and writing this use case, editing their use case, and all the other team members, they are commenting the use case. So it's easier to work. But this is, of course, up to the team. Then once we jump into this co-creation space, we have a library structure. So where to find basically your projects and your use cases. So first of all, you have the organization. This means buildingSMART International. Here you will find all domains. So on the domain level, you will find your domain. For example, infrastructure domain or a building domain or a regulatory domain, so whatever you need and where you work in. And then basically your use cases will be in the project space. So you have, for example, here, I see tunnel, you have bridge and so on. So here you can really put your use cases. So, and all the user rights are dedicated to this project space. I think this is quite important to understand. Last but not least, I'd like to highlight also that we have a training website. So you have a lot of tutorials. So you are basically able to learn it yourself if you have any open questions to it. So what is coming up as next? We will introduce a new website. So this is a project which is currently in testing phase. So we are convinced that the website will be available in April, so next month. Currently we are still testing. I'm going to show you this prototype. So maybe you can help me with changing to the
yes, if you just bear with us for a couple of minutes, we'll just switch onto the actual website. We want that one.
Yeah,
that one. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, we're good.
Yeah, great. So thanks a lot. So this is our new website. So it looks completely different, like the original website. We tried, of course, to make it very intuitive, very user-friendly. So you should be able to find everything very easily. You have here possibility to search for use cases, for example, and we have the view use case pages where you can find all the use cases. And here we have a lot of more information about the use case management itself. So what is the benefits of it, the common language, how is it implemented in the Open BIM framework, the methodology behind it, and what kind of standards we have behind that. You have possibility to go to collaboration space and the training site. And here we have some updates about how to use the AI features. Just will present you later on. Then here you're going to see the joining chapters. We have different chapters, but it's also possible to for other organizations actually to be part of the use case management. You have the partner side and so on. So this is how the landing page look like. First, I like to go into this page. So about the use case management itself. So if you have any question about the use case management, you see here what kind of goals do we have. what are the main results of the use case, some words about the common language, and the Open BIM enabler, so quite some text. And here you will find all standards which are part of the use case management. So you see 294081 information delivery manual, and all these standards are explained here. And here you can also jump to the next page where you can contribute if you like to start with the use case management. On the next slide here, I like to show you the training website. I think this is also quite convenient. Here you have training website. You have a site where you see everything, how to start with the use case management, how to do the user administration, learn about the use case management. So if you open that, you will have a lot of tutorials here. So introduction of use cases, create the use case, and then you see here again the structure. So metadata, use case description. So you will find for all parts of the use case management, you will find a training. Also here, very convenient and easy to use. But coming back to the use cases itself, if we jump up here, you have use cases. Here's the list of the use cases. You have a lot of different filter possibilities. So let's jump just on the English use cases, which may be a bit easier. So we don't have any German and French use cases here. This is the list. You see also the color code. The color code is about the maturity stage. Is it yellow or blue or green? Here you see this maturity where you have, for example, a proven use case where we say IFC port and waterways, for example, is really close to a standard. You always see a short description. You see the team who worked with, and you see some information about the use case or the part itself. And then if you click to that, a bit slow connection here. Hopefully, yes. So here you have the IFC port and waterways, for example, and what we made for easy to use or make it for easier to use. Yes, you can click basically, and you can jump directly. What are the deliverables, for example, or if you want to see the project group, you can really jump directly to the part which you want. If you go to the top, here on the right-hand side, you see the team again, and then of course you can also download the PDF, and also a zip file with all attachments would be possible. So what I like to show you is a typical use case we made in Switzerland. So it's a rear ventilated cladding of exterior walls. This is use case, quite a new one, which consists of all elements. So it's maybe good to explain here. So what you can do is really you can upload some pictures. Then you have the first description part here, the use case description. And then you see here the structure of the use case definition, which will be a description, but also delivery performance, what will be delivered, what are the objective and benefits of a use case. Delimitation is also very important, of course. You have also a reference to a certain number of standards which are used here. Of course, these are here Swiss standards, and you have the abbreviations. So this is always the same structure, and this is important to understand because it's always the same structure. It's easy to understand and to compare different use cases. And then you have the process diagram. This is here. You can download, of course, the process diagram because, of course, it's a bit small. And then we have here also the possibility, if required, you can do a detailed description. And for example, we can define the exchange requirements. And here you see now the level of information need. We say, okay, we only need a LRG 100 for the geometry, and then level of information need will be 200 with all these requirements. And then we have the exchange requirements. Here we have a combination with the so-called SMART sheet, which is an Excel sheet, basically an intelligent Excel sheet you can share. And here you see the structure of this so-called exchange requirement, which is human readable. So this means you have, for example, a wall here or a curtain wall with all these different styles here and attributes. Of course, this is, see here. Of course, you can download this one, or you can download also the IFC file and the IDS file. So you have the possibility to add an IFC file to this and the IDS version. So you can really download and use this for testing purposes. And by the end, yes, you have the imprint and you have the partner page. I think it's for us it's always important that you have a collaborative work with associations and partners together to develop the use case, or if you are in the domain, you have a lot of experience yourself, of course. So going back to the use case management, what is new is also that we have this chatbot now. Please be aware the chatbot is still a beta version, so we have to train this chatbot first, but maybe I can show you how this is working. You can, for example, you can ask a question, what is an IDS? There will be a short description of the IDS. And then here we have a list of use cases which already use this IDS. So this you can really jump directly in the different use cases. You can also ask, for example, oops, this is another. You can make a question. You can make a short summary, for example. We will extend that a little bit, but this is, you can ask questions, you can make a more search function for that. So this really helps, and then you can also directly jump into that. It will download the... You're not showing oh, okay, it doesn't work. Thank you. So if you jump or if you click in the use case, you will find this directly from here then. So this is also a very nice, very helpful feature. As I mentioned, we are in a beta version, so this will be improved over time. Last but not least is you have a community web page. So all organizations which are part of the use case management have a small web page, like, for example, buildingSMART International has a website here, which provides some additional information and how you collaborate. Or we have it also, for example, for Switzerland, for Benelux, and for all other organizations. This website can be really adapted to the need of each member. Can look a little bit different, so that you can really give the information and that it can be directly contacted the according of the organization. So this is the website. The new one will be introduced next month. Maybe before I switch back, any questions to the website?
Yeah, here we go.
Maybe not a question about the website. It looks great.
Yeah.
You got some really good graphic designers and UI designers. The process diagram, is there a particular tool or template or examples that are provided? Because a process diagram could look very different from one person to another.
Yes. Normally, from Toolbase, there are a number of open and free tools. So I recommend actually to use, for example, Draw.io. So you can implement that directly. You can also implement the URL of Draw.io, so it will be integrated directly. This is good. Out of the feedback I got is we should not recommend just one tool because everybody is used to use different tools. But I think for VPN diagrams, there is a standard how you should develop that. And of course, it should be always kept simple. We recommend also that you do not too many disciplines because you have the swim lanes. So if you have 10 disciplines with 10 swim lanes, nobody will understand it anymore. So try to simplify, make it as generic as possible. That people understand it with maybe maximum 5 swim lanes, something like that.
Any other questions for Thomas at this time? No? Okay. We'll carry on, Thomas.
Okay. So we're gonna go back to the presentation.
Going to go back to the slide, yeah?
Let's just do that. This one, so I close this one. Yeah. Thank you.
From there, yeah.
No, it was my other.
Yeah.
Yes,
From there, yeah.
Perfect. Thanks a lot. So I'd like to show you a short onboarding process. But first of all, yeah. Okay, excellent. So first of all, as I mentioned, the use case management is open for all domains, is open for all buildingSMART chapters, but also for different organizations. Like we have one of our universities in Switzerland has a tenant and is developing use cases together with the students for educational issues. So basically it's open. As I mentioned, it's free for all domains from buildingSMART. The buildingSMART domains will be also fully supported by myself and by my team, but it's also open for chapters. But as the use case management is fully developed and also paid by buildingSMART Switzerland, by buildingSMART Germany and buildingSMART Austria, we need to have a small license fee for the operational stuff of the use case management. This is, unfortunately, we need to do that a little bit, but we are in discussion with buildingSMART International to lower this fee that is really accessible and affordable by all chapters. And then, as I mentioned, it's open for institutions and companies. So here, of course, you can come back to me and for a price. So we will do a kind of offer for you. So how you have to onboard if you are a domain. First of all, very important, please register at the use case management. Because we have invitation process, so we will invite you for the use case management for the co-collaboration space. But if you're not registered, of course, we will not find you in the system. So please make this registration. It's free, and then you can also access and download all use cases. This can be done by everybody. The second part is the project administration. I always say treat your use case like a project. You need to assign a responsible person who is in contact with me or with the local administration, because we have to set up, of course, the project space. We have to add the project teams. We have to give some user rights to the team and so on. So therefore, we need a person who is responsible. If you say, I have a group and nobody's responsible, it will be quite difficult to set up the use case. And of course, this project administrator or project leader can add new use cases, but also he should also check the use cases before publication, so that we are sure that the use cases is ready for publication. Then the team member, once I get the list from the project leader who is part of this project team, then I'm gonna invite the people. You will get a automatic generated invitation. You can accept that, and then you have access for the co-collaboration space. As I mentioned, there's a user management behind it. So depending on your role, you have the different rights. Project leader should write and edit the use case. Team members normally comment a use case. And then, you can create and edit a use case. Since you are invited to this management, you see, create this ad, just simply add a use cases. There will be guided process through that. And you can have the possibility to comment any use case, not only in your domain, but you can also comment in other domains, because people will see who did the comment and come back to you. And of course, you can also download even use cases which are not yet published, so that you are always on the actual date. So, do we still have? We're running a little bit out of time, so I think I already did quite a few demonstration of the backend. So it's quite an easy process. You have also the trainings for it. It's according to this structure I showed you before. And then you will come to the publication of the use case. So publication means that, again, the responsible person of this use case should contact the administrator or me and say, okay, it's ready for publication, and then we will publish this. Or we're first going to check if everything is here. We will add some tags that you can find the use case, and then, of course, it will be published. And once it's published and people are commenting the use case, then we're gonna give the comments back to the project team that they even can enhance the use case if they like. So what is coming next? The next feature will be a so-called quality assessment system. So there was quite often the discussion, what is the quality of a use case? Can I use this or is it just an example? Who is behind it and so on? And what we will do is we will introduce a two-level quality system. The first level is the internal check. So when we publish a use case, we will say, okay, is the use case complete? Is there an active project team behind it? Does it comply with the rules and the guidelines of the IDM and so on? So we will give some ratings here. And the second rating is the user rating, where you have a kind of star system where you can say, okay, so 1 star is a 5-star use case. And of course, the combination out of that will give then an overall rating, which is displayed here on the right-hand side. So the quality rating, so with a 1 to 5-star system, like you know from Google sessions and so on, will be quite similar. So you will see that. And you have also the possibility to like the use case. So you will see also here the rating is number 5 of 500 use case and so on. So it gives you an indication how this use case is used in the whole community. So this would have been my part to the use case management so far. Any questions?
Thanks, Thomas. Any other questions? I think Mark might have a question he wants to raise.
In class who always asks the question. Am I correct that you or someone on your team has to approve the use case to be published, or is it the project manager in the domain or the chapter who publishes it?
The project manager has to approve it, that it's correct, and I will publish it. Okay. And I will add some tags, identification tags and so on, that you will find it on the website. But I will not change any content or things like that. But I have to publish. You cannot do a self-publishing, because we like to control it a little bit, otherwise, maybe not in the domains, but in other organizations, we don't like to have certain use cases just spread out. So there's a 4I principle.
And if you take a look at it and realize there's no process diagram or there's something missing,
yes,
you don't publish it, you'll
I will come back to the project leader and ask to add this missing stuff. Yeah.
Anything else for Thomas before we move on to some examples of how infra-domain are using the use case management system? No? Okay. Thanks very much, Thomas. I'm sure you'll be staying with us for the remainder of this session. We might well have some more questions or need some more of your insight, but that was excellent. Thank you.
Sure. Thanks a lot.
I'm inviting Lars and Karin to join us. Yeah, I can see you've done so, Karin, and so has Lars. I'm going to switch to your slides, so if you want to introduce yourselves while I switch to your slides, that would be great. Thank you.
Well, it's the second slide of our presentation, but we can start with who we are anyway. So I'm Karin Andersson. I'm sorry I'm not able to be with you today, but travel restrictions and...
We've got a slight sound problem at the moment at this end, so might go to Mark actually, and then come back to yourself, Karin and Lars.
Thank you for your patience. I'm Mark Goldman. I'm my day job is the Director of Industry Solutions for AEC at Esri, where my job is to promote GIS in the AEC sector. One of those channels or opportunities is through buildingSMART with the infrastructure domain, focusing on GIS and BIM, Open BIM and OGC specifically. Myself, Jag Malala, Eric Poirier, we're the three leaders of a working group who's focusing on this exact topic. A number of times going back to, I guess, Lillestrøm, Rome, Valencia, we have been presenting this information, giving updates on a roadmap that's been created across buildingSMART and OGC. And our roadmap essentially is presented here on screen. We've been spending the last year or so creating awareness about the importance of BIM and GIS. We've been developing very high level, I hate to use the word use cases, we'll call maybe case studies about where the intersection of BIM and GIS come together to deliver value. We have polled the audience at various buildingSMART summits. We've held webinars, and we're in this process now of the infrastructure domain, the construction domain, airport domain, railway domain, and maritime domain, all collecting these case studies at a very high level. We're essentially just describing a particular user story where a particular individual might seek to get some value for a particular use so that they can do their job more easily. Currently, we're using Google Sheets as just a collaboration tool across the domains. Each of us within our individual domain are soliciting feedback from the various groups that we work with. So in my case, the infrastructure domain, I have a small group, 4 or 5 people who I have connected with, and we've batted around the idea of how BIM and GIS for infrastructure might serve various purposes. We've come to this desire to use Google Sheets because we realized that we weren't ready yet for the use case management tool. We weren't organized well enough. We didn't have our user stories developed across buildingSMART, much less across buildingSMART and OGC yet, to use the tool like it was previously demonstrated. So we currently are in this hybrid of collecting information, coming to understand our stories with the intention to use the use case management tool to add the process diagrams, to add the requirements, to develop potential IFC models and IDSs. So we've put, as they say, a little bit of the cart before the horse, and now we've backed up into a tool that is extremely flexible, a spreadsheet. But I just want to take a moment to show you that we have been collecting these user stories from the different domains, from infrastructure, from railway, from construction, from the airport domain, and the maritime domain. And in fact, tomorrow at 11 a.m., myself, Jag, Eric, and hopefully a room full of people will be organizing to discuss prioritization, adding some details, hopefully getting us closer to be able to use the UCM tool as it was previously demonstrated. I will take just a moment or two to show you what we have done. So within, this is the demonstration that I guess you didn't show. We'll get a few of these examples from myself in the next few. So as part of buildingSMART International, we are the infrastructure domain, and within the infrastructure extensions deployment area, we have a handful of user stories that we did start creating. And that's when we realized that the depth of information that the UCM tool requires in order to be published, we just weren't there yet. So from this presentation that we gave at Valencia and we've given virtually, we had some high-level stories. We understood that GIS and BIM come together for large projects. They come together for large-scale development. They might be used for subsurface design and engineering. That would be where GIS comes into BIM. In the case of BIM information coming into a GIS environment, we've presented and discussed and collected feedback on 3 categories as well: urban planning, operations and maintenance, facilities management, and then this idea of sometimes BIM and GIS come together and the lines are blurred. You can't quite tell which one is the lead horse. So perhaps the idea of a model as a legal document, which is a movement within at least the US for removing the need for paper in our construction processes. Construction collaboration, a site like you see here where the BIM and the GIS are just so closely merged together, you don't know where one starts and one stops. And from these 9 or so use cases in these various scenarios, we've been collecting feedback. We've been collecting input, purposes, and potential outputs of these BIM and GIS workflows coming together. So we have a lot of raw information, but as you can see in the use case management tool, and as you saw in the demonstration prior, there's a level of rigor, there's a level of consistency and high quality information that really is required for a use case in the UCM, and we weren't quite there yet. So we started filling it out. We started putting information, just realized that we really only had the high level information. We could describe the use case. We could put a purpose behind it. We could talk a little bit about the objectives and the limitations of the use case, but we didn't have a process diagram. We didn't have an interaction plan. We didn't have a transition diagram. We didn't have a lot of the requirements that would be, essential for the use case to be consumed and used by an implementer to actually do anything with it. So like I said, we put the cart before the horse. We started putting in these very high-level use cases, GIS into BIM, GIS into BIM, GIS into BIM, BIM into GIS, BIM into GIS, but we didn't have the details yet. So tomorrow, I'd encourage you to come at 11 a.m. where we will be presenting some of these high-level user stories. We'll be soliciting your input to add put some meat on the bones, to help us get to a point where we actually can do some pilot projects. But before we would have a pilot project implemented or potentially implemented by any of the software developers, we need all these details. We need the use case to be very thorough and fleshed out. And just to jump back a little bit, in a past lives, my role was product manager of software efforts. So I led teams of product managers and product designers. And a tool like the UCM is extremely valuable. This is like a treasure chest to a software developer to have consistently organized use cases, user stories, with process diagrams, with personas identified, with objectives and limitations spelled out in a consistent way across all your use cases, allows implementers to hit the ground running and to not be scraping around for bits of information here and there, but instead to have one source for all this information is an extremely valuable tool. So when I joined the Infrastructure Domain Steering Committee and learned about the UCM, I became very excited that this tool existed, but then realized, like I said, we didn't quite have enough information to put it to use. So we're very early in putting the UCM to use. We're still gathering our information, but I would expect in a few months, we'll start to have some very rich, detailed use cases in the UCM based on this BIM and GIS intersection. That's about it for me, John.
That's great, Mark. Thank you for that. We have our AV support person here. Hi. So we're just going to try and get Karin and Lars coming out of the speakers.
So thank you for having us and being patient and waiting for this. Maybe you can just switch slides and we'll present ourselves. John, thank you. Next slide, please. No? Yay. Okay, so I'm Karin Andersson. I've been around the buildingSMART community for quite a few years. I'm here representing a stakeholder that's been involved in the projects of extending IFC into infrastructure. I work for the Swedish Transport Administration, and we are in the middle now of focusing on implementing OpenBIM and IFC and IDS and everything that goes around OpenBIM workflow. And have been in the Infra Domain Steering Committee and hope to continue serving there. And Lars, if you want to say a few words.
Yes, hello, Lars Wikström, also Swedish as Karin, and I come from the software development part of things. I started in the 80s developing road design software, actually. And since 2014, when IFC alignment project started, I've been involved in developing the IFC extensions for infra. I've been in almost all of them except bridge, which is sort of the topic here. But anyway, yeah. And also done a lot of work in GIS standardization as well. So I kind of know both words.
Let's switch slides then. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
I just wanted to put this up here because we are all quite proud of the work that's been done for the last 10 years. I'm sorry, Jim Plume and Tina and the Infra Domain Steering Committee for using this very, very old image here, but it is still valid. We have, together with the railway domain, developed we have gone through all these activities to actually have a final standard published last year in ISO. So very proud of that. And we are looking forward to seeing the IFC tunnel result also being incorporated in some way or another. So we could go to the next slide, and I'll just say a few words before Lars explains what he's been doing. In the Infra Domain Steering Committee, we were talking about how we could explore the use case management tool and what we could actually add there to test and to evaluate what use we could have of it. And what we did is we took the IFC Bridge Fast Track project report, and with that input, we tried filling in the different parts of the UCM tool. And Lars, you could just explain a little bit more about what part of the project results and everything we've been doing.
Yeah, sure. I mean, first of all, what we have done is kind of, taken a few shortcuts, of course. I mean, you all know the process for developing IFC extensions. You start with, you have the requirements analysis, and you do conceptual modeling, and you do the IFC extension and MVDs, and then IDS at the end. So, but the requirements analysis report from Bridge project is quite well structured, and as a requirements analysis report on that level, it covers, of course, lots of use cases. But I think we could still do something, and we actually, Karin and me and Sergei Muhic and others have been working also on developing sort of a template IFC file for a bridge. So we thought that why not go the whole way, start with this UCM and create an IDS and test it with the template file that we used. So yeah, that's about it.
Let's skip to the next slide then, John. So what we did was we got all the right logins, and we with the help of Thomas and the short introduction to the tool, we managed to get in and find our ways around, and also we have now finally published this also through Thomas's good help, and we hope that it can serve also as an example for future use. And I put in a note here because it does look as if some of these tabs, it looks as if it's input coming from, it's not clear where it comes from. So I just want to make it clear that this is from the requirements analysis report published in 2018. It's still a very valid report and it's very good, but it's not a use case as such. If you go to the next page, just to show you a little bit what we what we did when we put in these chapters from the requirements analysis report. We've actually sometimes copied some text and lists, and sometimes we've copied some images, and we've also attached some documents. So we've tried filling in most of these tabs and the information required for the use case, but sometimes we've also taken some shortcuts in just copying some images over from the report. So if you continue to the next, yes, I'm trying to follow you here on my own presentation. Good, thank you. So this is the process diagram. I heard Mark asking earlier what to use for a process diagram. What tools to be used, and if you look through the requirements analysis reports of all those projects that I listed in the beginning that are part of the final IFC 4.3 standards, they look similar, but they're all developed by different tools, but they're all using this same sort of way of swim lanes and how to create these diagrams. So that's very colorful one from the Bridge project. And it also has the interaction plan, maybe not exactly as intended with that tab, but we copied that image there as well. So we go to the next slide, we can look at that. There is a list. The last column in that diagram or that table is actually what MVDs were envisaged during the IFC Bridge Fast Track project. Back in 2018, MVDs had quite an important deliverable of the Bridge project, and later on we were going to develop some type of test instructions, and we've gone the IDS track for this particular requirements analysis report to also evaluate what we can do with that and what limits there are. So the next slide, maybe Lars, you could say something about the what you found when you were transferring from the requirements analysis.
Yeah, so in the requirements analysis report, there is an Annex 1 data requirements, which is really extensive and quite detailed in the requirements, both regarding spatial structures and components and everything, and properties and attributes. So we actually went from there and created an IDS to the extent that we felt was possible. And why did we do this? Well, first of all, we wanted to test it, and it has also been a learning experience, of course. And a lot of things you can actually express using IDS, and some things you can't. And we have tried to document what we weren't able to describe using IDS. But in the end, the IDS, both the documentation and the actual IDS file is attached in the UCM tool. And maybe I should also mention that we actually used akka software here to create the IDS, and also later, well, there is a later slide to actually verify our bridge file against the IDS as well. Did I forget anything, Karin?
No, I think it's good. What we see here is on the left, it's a screenshot from the requirements analysis report, and to the right you have the actual summary from the input that you've put into the akka tool. And the akka tool has a very neat IDS report, it's called. It has a very neat IDS report, as well as the XML export, of course. So it's very very good way of getting into the IDS to see what you've actually input and what the result looks like. If we go on to slide 10, we can see that we have actually, as Lars said, we have also provided some the IDS that Lars developed from the requirements analysis report, and also the report from akka, and also an IFC file. That IFC file, I'm challenging you to send me all errors you can find, because it's not perfect in any way. I think it's a 75% there, and it's just a very good sample that we can share with everyone in all sorts of different types of developments. And there is actually a tab where you can acknowledge software tools and services that you've been using during a project. And so we put in some acknowledgements there, and we listed the akka tool, of course, the SBIM IDS editor, and also the actual verification IDS versus IFC. That works very well. We've created the IFC file, and it's an ever ongoing project. Actually, it was created using Navisworks, so it's a converted file. Navisworks and iConstruct and SimpleBIM was used for that, and we've also had some very good help from the hardcode organization, with Sergey in the lead, trying to optimize and restructure and actually get the IFC file up to speed to where we want to have it with IFC 4.3, according to the IFC validation and according to the OpenBIM workflow as we know it. And then there's the last slide, if you want to say something about that verification we did, validation or verification, Lars.
Yeah, I think I've already mentioned most of it. I mean, we actually created the IDS and also verified the bridge file that we have using the same tooling, just to both test the IDS and test the bridge file, of course. And you can see an example here of the report you get as a result.
And it can be exported as a BCF file, it can be exported as a table, and it's quite useful output from this testing. And if you go to the last slide, I just want to say a little bit about the next steps and where we are going with this. I think now the infra domain, if you just want to put up the last slide, John, just to next slide. No? Oh, it might be hidden or something. Well, anyway, the next slide is just a bunch of text. So I think now we need to review and publish it. It has been published. Thank you, Thomas. And it's available. I don't have a link in the presentation to it, but if you go to the UCM tool and if you're not logged in, you will see a very small amount of the information. But it is available there in the infra domain bridge section. And if you do log in, you will get access to the files and other things, and also a PDF report. That is, you're able to export a PDF report out of the UCM. I think myself that it's a very good tool. I agree with what Mark said. It's a good way of aligning how we present things, and we're going to discuss now in the Infradomain Steering Committee, hopefully in the future roadmap work, if we should, for example, put the rest of the requirements analysis in there, because they're all in some box folder somewhere, and maybe it's a good way of documenting them. But we will see what we do with this and how we take it further. Lars, any comment on the tool? How did you find working with it?
Yeah, well, I mean, I just went straight in, and of course, it's good to have some knowledge in advance about the standards like IDM and yeah, but I think it's nice to have some guidance, writing this stuff and in a consistent way, and also, of course, to have it published in some place where people can actually find it, and not in some a local hard drive or box folder somewhere. So yeah, so I think it's promising.
I think that's all we have to say, John. So thank you from Sweden.
Okay, can you hear us in the room speaking to you?
Yes.
Oh, you can. Excellent.
Yes.
We have two-way sound. It's wonderful, isn't it? Excellent. Well, thank you very much for that presentation. Sorry for the long hiatus before you were able to start, and apologies to people in the room and online for a loss in sound, and probably for a while vision as well. Are there any final comments from anybody relating to UCM? He says, looking at Thomas or Mark or Tina, or indeed Karin or Lars. Sounds like there aren't. Thank you for being with us today for the 2 infrastructure domain presentations that have taken place back to back this afternoon. Thank you for today's presenters, for Thomas for his excellent presentation, for Mark, from Karin, and from Lars. Enjoy the rest of your day and your evening, and see you back at the summit tomorrow. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you, Karin. See you, Lars. Thank you.